Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you guys back to another Worry-Free Wednesday with Miss Ellie. Today's topic, as you can see, is going to be all about safe sleep and the safe sleep environment. Really how to create the best and most safest place for your baby to be able to sleep and thrive. The main point here is we're going to use data from various organizations like the American Academy of Pediatrics as well as the CDC. These are all proven to help reduce the risk of SIDS in that first year of life. So really the first and the most main component of safe sleep when it comes to infants is that as a new parent, you're going to want to place your baby on their back pretty much every time they lay down to sleep, whether that is just sort of a nap or if they did just fall asleep, you really want them to sleep on their back. And I'm sure you're asking yourself right now, well, why? Why is that important? So I want to show you guys just a couple of visuals here just to really help you see the difference in sleeping on a baby's back as well as sleeping on a baby's stomach. So here, as you can see in this photo, the child is on their back and the trachea is placed above the esophagus, just based on the way that they're laying. Now I want to show you a quick comparison photo. Now this is going to be the child sleeping on their stomach. And as you can see, that trachea is now directly underneath the esophagus, and that's not what we want. So as you can see here, sleeping on your back and all of this really can be the most significant risk factor, especially like I said, in that first year of life. An infant's skull is pretty soft at this point, and they have very weak muscles, especially their neck muscles, really just didn't have an opportunity to be developed yet. So this is really going to help ensure that they're getting all the oxygen that they need while they are sleeping. Putting a child flat on their back is going to help reduce the risk of choking, possible suffocation, as well as I said, just providing overall better air circulation. So when in doubt, just place your baby on their back. And I know you're thinking, as a parent, you might be worried, well, what if my child turns their head while they're sleeping? What do I do about that? These things are okay, and this is when really that supervision piece comes into play, and I'm going to stress the importance of that throughout this whole presentation. So again, if you are a parent, you know that putting your baby on their back all the time, 24/7, they're going to start to get a little flat spot on the back there. And that can cause a lot of concern for parents because they want to make sure that their child is developing in the most healthy way possible. So one thing to do that we recommend that really is going to help them not only minimize their flat head, but going to provide a lot of other positive developmental milestones is getting some supervised tummy time. Now, as your child is just born, maybe they're in the 2 to 4 week range and you're ready to really start doing that with them. A great way to start is just having them do tummy time in 30-second, maybe to a minute intervals. A great way to get them used to the position of their body is to put them on your lap, tummy down, just to kind of get them used to that idea of starting to lift that neck up to be able to see and interact with the world around them. It also provides a great opportunity for them to start using those upper body muscles. So when you think about it, they're laying on their back. They really don't have a whole lot of opportunity to engage with these muscles and utilize those. Again, it talks about muscle strengthening, encouraging that healthy brain growth. And I think the best part of all is that it provides quality time for you and your baby. Again, this is really something that needs to be supervised heavily because the child is learning how to use those muscles and how to stay up on their own, and they're not going to be necessarily successful at first. Now, by the time they're 4 to 6 months, they can have tummy time for 30 minutes to an hour. So just really stagger that and track that. As they start to get stronger, you'll know as a parent when you can start adding more time onto that. Another little tip that I do want to share, definitely try tummy time when they are the most awake and alert in their part of the day. So definitely not right after feeding. They might be feeling exhausted. They don't want to use those little muscles, on top of the fact that you might get a baby puking all over you because you're putting that pressure right on their stomach right after they ate. A little tip there. So one of the main components here is the space that the baby is going to be sleeping in. This is one of the most impactful ways that you can really reduce the risk of SIDS in the child. I love this little visual because it's just very quick and easy and kind of just shows you here's what looks like unsafe and here's something that looks safe. As you can see in the top photo, that bed is covered with lots of pillows and blankets and bumper pads, little stuffed animals. And in the second photo, that is considered the safe photo, it is a firm mattress, tight-fitting sheet, no loose blankets or materials. So I just sort of reinforced that in this photo. Just some keywords here. When you think of a crib, you want to think firm, flat, and free of blankets and toys. I kind of call that the 3 F's of a crib. Firm, flat, free of blankets. Basically keeping it as boring as possible for your child. And the idea is that it's not going to be boring. It is just the most possible safe version for them to be able to get that sleep, especially while they are just learning how to use their muscles. So a lot of the times the babies are going to be interacting in other areas in their home, not just their crib. You might have gotten them a little swing so that you can watch them from the kitchen, a little chair to sit in. But this is a very important tip because you do not really want to let your child sleep in either of those devices. That is really just for playtime, for bouncing around, and for interaction. They really shouldn't sleep in any of those sitting devices, and those include a swing, bouncy seats, even car seats, outside of the car. It's going to put your baby in a cradled position that's really not flat, and that's really going to put them chin to chest, which is going to really make it more difficult for them to get that full gasp of air in. So I'm telling you basically to keep the crib empty as possible. And I know some parents are out there thinking, well, my baby's going to freeze. I want to be able to utilize blankets and things like that to keep them warm. There is a way to keep your babies warm and to keep them safe all at the same time. Now, I don't know if you've heard of these, but on the left, these are called sleep sacks, or baby blankets. These are fantastic. They can cost anywhere from $10 to $20. And this is a fantastic way to reduce the risk of suffocation and strangulation while in the crib. Another great option is footed pajamas, just to keep those toesies warm at night. Now, this is a great way to circumvent the fact that blankets and loose bedding really aren't the best fit, especially in that first year. Now, if you are given birth or you have just given birth, I would definitely recommend that you reach out to the hospital that you gave birth at. Most of our hospitals in the metro area here are going to provide a free sleep sack. So we want our kiddos to stay warm at night. But again, we don't want them to be too warm. And I know we have parents who are just nervous and wanting to make sure that their baby is as warm as possible. But again, you want to do this all in moderation. You don't want to overdress your baby. Definitely want to avoid bundling and covering of the face and head. No hats at bedtime. That is just definitely, they can pull that down onto their face while sleeping, and that is a big risk. One layer at a time. I know you probably want to be able to bundle your baby up in many layers, especially if they can't have a blanket, but one layer at a time is really the best way to go about it. And in this situation, again, supervision is key. So always check on your baby for signs of overheating. So you're going to look at them to see, are they sweating? Are they appearing more red than they usually are? Just use your mama skills to be able to understand if your baby needs to maybe take a layer off. Another important tip here. So not only do babies need a bed that is free of hazards, they need their own bed. They need their own space here. Now, when it comes to infant deaths, over 50% of infant deaths occurred because the babies were found co-sleeping with their parent. So I really just want to stress the importance here and the difference specifically between co-rooming and co-sleeping. Co-sleeping is going to be when the child is in the main adult bed with the child, and that unfortunately just leaves a lot of room for risk. Now, co-rooming is a fantastic way for you to still feel close to your baby while maintaining that safe distance. So this is a great example and a great visual here of what co-rooming is going to look like. And a lot of experts will suggest that you co-room the first year of life. I know this is tough, especially if you're a breastfeeding mom, because you're thinking, I have to breastfeed, I have to feed my baby every couple hours in the night. It's a lot easier to just turn over, feed them, turn the other way and go back to sleep. And I totally understand that. But there are just a lot of unknowns when it comes to you being asleep. You're not awake, you're not able to assess and understand your behavior at that time. So just the best way to keep it as safe as possible is to co-room instead of co-sleep. So another proven risk factor when it comes to SIDS is going to be smoking. And so here I really want to talk about ways that you can reduce that exposure to your baby as much as possible. I am not here telling you that you need to quit or you need to do anything, but I just want to provide this information in case you are looking for that information. When you smoke while you're pregnant, I think we all know that that is just not a good thing. Science has really caught up and showed us that there are higher instances of prematurity, low birth weight, underdeveloped lungs, addiction, and possible behavioral effects later on in life. So again, I want to leave you guys, if you are a smoker and you are thinking about having a baby or on that journey and not sure what to do next to help reduce that risk, here are some things that you can do. The CDC recommends, try to limit the number of cigarettes that you have per day. If you are breastfeeding and you have a child, you're going to want to wait 2 hours after smoking to breastfeed that child. It gives an opportunity for some of those dust and those Another tip is to smoke away from the infant. And that means really outside in a separate space. Them coming into contact with that secondhand smoke as well as that third-hand smoke. The secondhand smoke is going to be that direct smoke that comes out of the cigarette, but the third-hand smoke is really the scarier kind of stuff because it's going to be that dust in that stuff that really sits on top of all of your furniture, it sits on your clothes, things like that. So not only smoking away from the child, when you're done smoking, I really highly encourage that you wash your hands, maybe change that shirt that you were wearing when you smoked so that the child doesn't have any chance of coming into contact with some of those pathogens. So pacifiers. I know that there is a lot of question around pacifiers and the science behind it is certainly changing and developing. But right now, there have been lots of studies that have reported a positive and a protective effect of pacifiers on the incidence of SIDS. Most babies are born and they have a strong sucking reflex. Sometimes if you get an ultrasound, you'll catch your baby already sucking on their thumb in the womb. This is a way for them to get the nutrition that they need. And sucking also has a really soothing effect on the child. So if your child is having a hard time falling asleep, you can absolutely offer a pacifier when placing them to sleep. Now I put this little tip on the bottom here because it's very important that your child needs to have somewhat of an established feeding schedule before you introduce the pacifier. Sometimes when you introduce the pacifier around the same time that you're introducing the breast or you're introducing a bottle, they may come to like the pacifier a little bit more. And we don't want that because we don't want that confusion between nutrition and soothing. And so when in doubt, just make sure that your baby has been breastfeeding for around 3 to 4 weeks before you maybe think about the introduction of a pacifier. Another tip here, a lot of times when parents are trying to get their child used to a pacifier, they're going to coat it with something sweet. We definitely do not recommend that you do that. It's already a dental risk having that in their mouth, and then adding kinds of sugars just to kind of sit on those teeth, it would really compound that. You're definitely going to want to avoid using a string or anything else to attach the pacifier around your baby's neck or clothing. Later on in life, that can be a great tool to make sure that you can keep track of the pacifier. But right now, unfortunately, that can definitely be a choke hazard. Now, when in doubt, I just want you to remember that pacifiers are not supposed to be the first line of defense. And they're not the only option to help soothe them. So I don't want you to feel hopeless as a parent if your child is not taking to the pacifier early on. So I just want to provide a tip here to really help you guys remember some of the ways that you can stay safe with your family. Because I threw a lot of information out today and I want this to be able to be easy to remember. And these are really some of the main components here. And these are called the ABCs of safe sleep. And so when you were sleeping with your kiddo, you want them to be alone. So not with other people, not with other pillows, blankets, or stuffed animals. You want to make sure that the kiddo is on their back, not on their stomach or side. And C, make sure that they're in their crib, not in an adult bed, a sofa, cushion, or any other type of soft surface. So alone, on my back, in the crib, the ABCs. I know that there's so many new stressors, especially as a new parent, I just love this quick saying. It just can help you remember those main safety tips of safe sleep. So as always, I want to provide resources, something tangible to come along with the information that I provide today. I provided a link as well as a phone number for the Consumer Product Safety Commission. This is a fantastic way to be able to understand and learn products that you want to get for your child, whether or not they meet or follow those safety standards. I think this is a really important way to help reduce those SIDS. And it's just a quick phone call or checking the website to make sure that the specific product that you want for your child is going to be a safe product. All right, so we finished talking about safe sleep today and some of those main components, tips, and tricks to really help you guys when you are navigating the world with your new baby. Again, a lot of this information comes in the training that we provide through the Safe Care program. So if that is something that you might be interested in and you think that you might want to join the program or someone that you might know, please feel free to email us at safecarereferrals@northcreditcare.com. We'd love to be able to chat with you and find the best fit for you and your family.